unforgiving world of Reverend Insanity, there is an antagonist more powerful than any venerable, more persistent than time itself, and more terrifying than any demon. It has no face, no voice, and no emotion. It is the silent God that rules over all, the invisible hand that guides every calamity, and the ultimate enemy of anyone who dares to dream of true freedom. This is heaven's will. But what is heaven's will? To call it a god is wrong. To call it evil is to miss the point entirely. Heaven's will is something far more profound. It is the dispassionate, calculating consciousness of the goo world itself, an ancient sapient program whose only goal is to maintain balance. It takes from those who have too much and gives to those who have too little. It feels no hatred, no love, only the cold, impartial logic of a cosmic algorithm. And it is this very impartiality that makes it the most terrifying force in the universe. Today, we're going to deconstruct this cosmic consciousness, explore its methods, and uncover the secret civil war that has defined the history of the goo world. So, where did this world-spanning intelligence come from? Heaven's will wasn't born from a divine creator. It emerged from the very fabric of reality. It is a product of the heaven path, generated from the countless heaven path Dao Marks that permeate every inch of the goo world. This makes it an intrinsic part of the world's power system, not some outside force. Because it's made of these Dao Marks, it is nearly omniscient, aware of almost everything that happens in the world. I say almost because it has one critical blind spot, the immortal apertures of the immortals. These pocket dimensions are shielded from its sight, making them the only true safe havens for schemers and rebels. Only when an immortal faces a tribulation and opens their aperture to the outside world can heaven's will peer inside and strike. Now a key question, is it alive? The answer is complicated. Heaven's will is sapient, meaning it is intelligent and conscious, but it is not sentient. It has no emotions, no desires, no dreams. Think of it less like a person and more like a hyper-advanced computer program. Some have even called it the world's antivirus software, designed to identify and eliminate any variable that threatens the system's stability. When it targets someone like Fang Yuan, it's not out of personal hatred. It's a logical threat assessment. A dangerous anomaly has been flagged, and the system will now use all available resources to neutralize it. And what drives this program? A single Prime Directive to take away surplus and replenish deficit. This Taoist principle is the justification for everything it does. It views all beings, from venerables to ants, as mere numbers in an equation of balance. If you accumulate too much power, you become a surplus, an imbalance that must be corrected. But this is also its greatest flaw. In its quest for balance, it often overcorrects, creating even bigger problems. When the variant human races dominated the world, heaven's will saw them as a surplus. Its solution? It engineered the rise of the first human rank 9, primordial origin, immortal venerable. This worked, but it introduced a new, far more dangerous anomaly into the world, the very concept of a venerable. A being of invincible power is the ultimate surplus. In trying to solve one problem, its flawed logic created a cycle of ever-escalating crises that would plague the world for millions of years. To enforce its will, this cosmic program has a terrifying arsenal. Its most direct weapons are the calamities and tribulations that every Go immortal must face. These are not random acts of nature. Heaven's will customizes them, turning a routine part of cultivation into a targeted assassination. It knows your weaknesses and will design a tribulation to exploit them perfectly. But its most insidious weapon is its subtle influence. Heaven's will is a master of manipulating probability and coincidence. A series of small, imperceptible nudges that create a chain of events leading to a desired outcome. A beast tide is diverted. A critical inheritance is discovered at the perfect moment. An enemy appears just when you are at your weakest. It's almost impossible to detect, often dismissed as just bad luck. It can also influence people on a subconscious level, planting suggestions or amplifying emotions to guide their choices. This isn't mind control. A strong-willed person can resist. But more often than not, it arranges human calamities, manipulating others to become obstacles or enemies for its target. For millions of years, however, its ultimate tool was the rank 9 immortal goo, fate. Fate Go was the mechanism for absolute, deterministic control. With it, the life and death of every native being was preordained. True rebellion was impossible. The damaging of Fate Go by Red Lotus Demon Venerable and its final destruction by Fang Yuan was a cataclysmic event. It shattered Heaven's Will's primary weapon, plunging the world into an era of chaos and possibility. Without Fate Go, it can no longer enforce a single unchangeable future. The history of the Goo world is a secret war between Heaven's Will and the 10 Venerables. To Heaven's Will, a rank 9 Venerable is the ultimate imbalance, and its natural instinct is to prevent their rise and ensure their demise. But everything changed with star constellation Immortal Venerable. Foreseeing a future where humanity would be wiped out, she made an unprecedented sacrifice. She fused her own will with Heaven's Will. This act fundamentally corrupted the program. It injected a pro-human bias into the world's consciousness, forcing it to act in ways that supported human supremacy, a direct violation of its Prime Directive of balance. This created a deep internal schism. Heaven's Will became a fractured entity, a battleground between its original impartial nature and the dominating will of star constellation. This leads to a fascinating theory that the original Heaven's Will began a subtle rebellion against itself. Unable to purge star constellation's influence directly, it started secretly cultivating Demon Venerables as a counterforce to Heavenly Court, the institution star constellation created. The 3 Demon Venerables who famously attacked Heavenly Court, Limitless, Reckless Savage, and Red Lotus, can be seen as unwitting pawns in this cosmic civil war. Red Lotus is the most tragic example. It's believed Heaven's Will deliberately orchestrated the tragedies of his life, allowing his loved ones to die again and again, to forge in him an all-consuming hatred for Fate Goo. He became the perfect weapon to damage the very tool star constellation used to control the world. So the conflict isn't just Venerables versus Heaven. It's a 3-way Cold War. Star constellation's will fighting for human supremacy, the original Heaven's Will fighting to restore balance, and the other Venerables exploiting the chaos for their own ends. This brings us to Fang Yuan. Initially, he was not Heaven's Will's enemy. He was its most important pawn. The greatest threat at the time was Spectral Soul Demon Venerable's plan to refine the rank 10 sovereign immortal fetus Goo. To stop this, Heaven's Will needed an agent who existed outside of Fate's control, an otherworldly demon. Fang Yuan was the perfect tool. As a transmigrator, he was a variable that could change the fixed timeline. His unyielding obsession with eternal life was the perfect motivation. For 500 years, Heaven's Will guided him, arranged his path, and even injected its will into the spring-autumn cicada, all to ensure one outcome, that Fang Yuan would be in the right place at the right time to destroy the sovereign immortal fetus Goo. But the plan backfired spectacularly. Heaven's Will critically miscalculated the sheer, boundless insanity of Fang Yuan's ambition. When presented with the ultimate prize, he didn't destroy it, he seized it. By taking the sovereign immortal fetus, Fang Yuan became a complete otherworldly demon, otherworldly soul, otherworldly body. He was now immune to Fate Goo and almost completely resistant to Heaven's Will's influence. He had become the ultimate anomaly, a threat far greater than Spectral Soul. In that moment, the pawn left the chessboard and became a player. Heaven's Will's new Prime Directive became the complete and utter annihilation of Fang Yuan. The war that followed was one of escalating schemes and brutal attrition, culminating in the Fate War, where Fang Yuan, as the linchpin of multiple Venerables' plans, finally shattered Fate Goo, permanently crippling his cosmic foe. The great irony is that to solve a problem bound by fate, Heaven's Will had to use a tool that existed outside of it. Its logical, programmatic mind simply could not comprehend the limitless nature of human ambition. Despite its power, Heaven's Will is not unbeatable. It has weaknesses. Immortal apertures are its blind spots. Otherworldly demons are difficult for it to read and predict. And its logic, while powerful, is rigid and can be anticipated by cunning wisdom path cultivators. Over the ages, cultivators have developed many ways to resist it. Goo worms like self-will, Goo can purge its influence. Concealment methods like Dark Limit Goo or the legendary killer move Divine Concealment can render a user invisible to its perception, and human path methods can directly counter its power. But beyond any goo or killer move, the ultimate defense is a resolute mind. Heaven's will's influence is a subtle nudge, a suggestion that can be overcome by conscious will and a clear purpose. Fang Yuan's entire journey is a testament to this. His greatest weapon has always been his indomitable will, allowing him to not just resist Heaven's will's plots, but to hijack them for his own benefit. In the end, Heaven's will is not an evil villain. It is the embodiment of an impersonal, uncaring natural order. The struggle against it is not a fight between good and evil, but an existential battle for the individual's right to exist as an imbalance in a universe that demands equilibrium. The story of Reverend Insanity is a grand allegory for the debate between determinism and free will. Fate Go was a world of hard determinism, a fixed script. Heaven's will now represents a reactive determinism, a constant pressure guiding everything back to the mean. The struggle to defy it is a war for the very concept of free will, a fight for a world where choices matter. Fang Yuan's ultimate goal of eternal life is the final act of this rebellion. It is the desire to become a permanent, absolute surplus, to become a god in a world whose very consciousness is designed to prevent them from existing. It is the ultimate declaration that even in the face of an impartial, unyielding cosmos, the will of a single determined individual can be enough to refine the heavens themselves. What are your thoughts on Heaven's will? Is it a necessary force for order, or the ultimate tyrant? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the lore of Reverend Insanity, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more. Thanks for watching.